Myself, Lect Chandore, class FYBSC, academic year 2020-21, subject Animal Diversity, paper first, semester first. Now, in Animal Diversity, the first chapter is Principle of Classification. Now, classification shows the number of principles and which are useful for the animal classification. You know that why we are classify the animals, because of that there are so many types of the animals which are present on the earth, and these animal are shows similar characteristics as well as similar characters on the body or morphological characters, and though there are some principles for the classification, because of that real recognition of the animals. Now, the which are the principles of the classification? There are some following characters or principles. That is the first: basic terminology and introduction. Basic terminology and introduction means that which are the terms are useful for the classification of the animal and information of that animals, that is called the basic terminology and introduction. The life on earth is diverse. On the earth there are number of types of the animal, number of species of the animal, and therefore this variation of the animals or different characters of the animals is nothing but the diverse. Large number of organisms have become extinct. Large number of animal or organisms have been extinct. Now extinct, it means that some of the animal which are without identification, without recognition, they are lost on the earth. Then new forms of organisms are being investigated. This is also important principle of the classification, means that when we have to identify, we have to recognize new organism, and that type of the organism which is classified according to their characters, according to their habits, and therefore new forms of organisms are also being investigated. Then diversity of forms of organism, it creates problems in their identification and study. Now, number of organisms are present on the earth, and therefore according to their similarity or same type, and therefore we are not particular identify this animal, and therefore the problems which are solved due to the study of the some principles. Common language about individual organism and groups of and organisms. It required information about the organism they are studying. Now, the taxonomy. Taxonomy is one of the important principle for the classification, and it shows some points, and these points are: the word taxonomy is of Greek origin. The term was first proposed by scientist Condley in 1813. The taxonomy terms which is first proposed by the scientist Condley. The taxis means the arrangement, and norms means law. Taxis means arrangement and norms mean law. Thus, taxonomy means the laws governing the arrangement of organism. Taxonomy means the laws governing the arrangement of organism. Now we have arranged this animal according to their external characters or external morphology, and therefore that type of the principle is also important for the classification. According to Simpson has defined, the taxonomy is the theoretical study of classification, including its base, principles, procedures, and rules. Now there are some levels of taxonomy. In levels of taxonomy, some points or important points are given below that. The process of taxonomy involves two distinct steps. correct recognition and definition of the organism and their relationship, application of suitable designation for the organism. Application of suitable or designation for the organism means that which characters which are designed for the classification. Taxonomic level are divided into three phases. Which are three phases? There are alpha taxonomy, beta taxonomy, and gamma taxonomy. These terms are very important because of that. According to this term, we have to use the taxonomic characters of that organism. Therefore, these terms are very important. Now, alpha taxonomy. Now, alpha taxonomy. Alpha taxonomy is an analytic phase in which the species are identified, characterized, and named. Means that in this type of the characters, in this type of the principle, we have to use the identification, then characterization and name of that organism or investigated organism or new form of the organism. It is the level or phase in which the species are identified and characterized on the basis of gross morphological features. Gross morphological feature, it means that all the external characters are useful for the classification. All the taxonomic characters are used for the identification of that animals. When new species is discovered, it is named according to linear system of binomial nomenclature. That is when we have to discover, we have to uh, find out new animal according to the linear system. We are given the name of that animal, and this name is binomial name, nomenclature or binomial name. Binomial name means that the two names given of that investigated or that new species, right? Next one, beta taxonomy. Now, in beta taxonomy, it is the arrangement of the species into a natural system of hierarchical categories. Hierarchical categories, it means that the classification, you know that the phylum, then class, order, family, then genus, species, etc. Now, in this phase, species are arranged from lower to higher categories, which means that the beta taxonomy follows hierarchic system of classification. Beta taxonomy, it is mostly important because of that. First, when we have to identify this animal, then that given the name, and then these name or these species also arrange in the lower to higher categories, like as the species, genus, family, class, phylum, then kingdom, etc. This is done on the basis of easily observable shared structural features and evolution of numerous characters. Now, this type of the characters or this type of the principle can be useful for the classification in beta taxonomy. Each taxon thus possesses diagnostic features unique to that taxon. Now, which type of the unique characters of that animals found on the morphological structure, this unique character is useful for the giving name or giving binomial name of that organism. Thus, this is the beta taxonomy. Then gamma taxonomy. Now, gamma taxonomy is the phase differences between two or more species and evolutionary history are studied. Means that gamma taxonomy given the very important principle, and this principle is nothing but the we have to first identify in same species, and these same species are taken for the classification as well as their evolutionary history, or how they are evolved, or they become changes in their bodies. So that type of the characters useful. Then at present taxonomy of only a few groups of animals, especially the birds and few insect orders like Lepidoptera etc., and has reached up to the gamma level. Now, in this point or in this principle, only few groups of animals like that, the some vertebrates and invertebrates, that is birds and few insect. Now, birds and few insect, so they are show the intraspecific differences are like as same in animals. Because of that, birds also shows flying, and uh, insects also showing flying, as well as some uh, morphological characters, and therefore they are nothing but the intraspecific animal, and they are useful for the classification. Because of that, they show the same characters morphologically. That is called the gamma taxonomy. Okay, we are stop here, and next time, next